Baby. You're escaping from Tarkov.
Yeah, no. Yeah. So I picked up a Escape from Tarkov a while ago. Um, I hadn't actually played it, but then I believe it was last week or the week before, they did their annual reset, which essentially makes all players go back to zero, regardless of what you had and stuff like that. And for anyone who doesn't know what Escape from Tarkov is, it is best way to describe it is hell, literal hell.
Wow.
Dark Souls FPS. But it's extremely addictive. Addictive. I've actually been enjoying it a lot more than I've had playing Warzone, to be honest. Which my love for Warzone has quite significantly faded in the past few months. So, um, but yeah. So Escape from Tarkov, you play as either a character or play as what's called the Scav. The Scav mode, you go in and you're just trying to loot the area for equipment, and the PMC or the your actual main character, uh, you go into a raid, and that raid essentially you're trying to find items and survive against scavs and other PMCs. You can go up to, I believe, teams of 5 into these raids. It is supposed to be extremely realistic. Like if you get shot in your arm, if it hits bone, it actually fractures your arm. You can have light bleeding or heavy bleeding. Um, Weapons have like a realistic time to reload. They do damage depending on what kind of ammunition you have in it, like if it's armor piercing or non-armor piercing, or if you're running like 7 millimeter buckshot and a shotgun or magnum slugs. Yeah. So when you go out of the raid, you have your stash in your hideout that you can put all these items in, and um, you can also get with their dealers or uh, people that you buy stuff from, like AIs. They each have their own set of like what they sell, but they also offer you tasks that you complete. Like they need you to get something in the game, to give to them, um, which is kind of a pain in the ass. But that's like the only way to like level up. So, or well, you level up faster by doing completing these tasks. I do have to say is the game's awful.
Is it?
I love it. It's so bad.
I I can't tell.
uh,
Like you say, you love it. Is this like another love hate relationship?
it, I really enjoy playing the game. Um, I don't get pissed off like I do with Warzone because there's something wrong with Warzone. Tarkov is more of a frustration from like the difficulty. So like I can go into a raid, I can be looted up to high heaven with level 4 armor and a nice shotgun that I spent a lot of money on to build up, right? And I go in, I don't see someone, they see me first. They absolutely shit on me and put me in a cardboard box, okay? And I lose all that stuff. Like that stuff does not come with you. Whatever you
Right.
take into a raid, if you die there, it stays there. That other person takes it. You can put insurance on it, but that doesn't mean you're gonna keep it. Like it doesn't mean it's gonna come back. Because if that person takes that stuff out of your bag and goes, it's gone. Like the insurance, the person that you get the insurance from will like, well, we looked, but we didn't find it. So yeah, it's more of like the how I imagine people who really like Dark Souls, uh, but in FPS form. So it's been very addictive. As I said, I paid for this a while ago. But then everyone's like, "Oh, we're playing Tarkov because there's a reset." I didn't know what that meant, so I was new anyways. So I'm like, "Okay, let's do it." So I go in, and yeah, I'm doing pretty well at it. I'm starting to get the hang of it. One thing I do have to say, this game does not hold your hand whatsoever. Like there is no tutorial for this game. Like you just go in. They're like, "Oh, Like you pick your character, like what your character looks like, and then boom. You either do a scav or you do a PMC. The first time I played it, when I first purchased it, and inevitably why I didn't play it until reset, is because I went into a PMC not knowing what I'm doing, and I immediately, like, I spawned in, took 2 steps, got shot, lost all my things. I'm like, what the hell? Where's all my stuff that I just had? And then I'm like, okay, this game fucking sucks, and I shut it down. But uh, playing with people is like the biggest thing, like people who know what they're doing.
Mhm.
I know YouTube has a lot of tutorials on how to Tarkov, I guess.
Right.
So if you're the kind of person who like likes tutorials and like wants to know how this is supposed to go, like this isn't the game for you. Um, yeah, because it can be very, very frustrating. Um, the biggest thing about this game is it's been in closed beta since 2017.
Really?
The
Closed beta?
released. Yeah, the closed beta came out on July 27th of 2017. As far as I'm aware, this game has never had a sale. It is like you're pre-ordering the game. If you it doesn't go through Steam, it goes through its own launcher. It's Battlestar Games launcher. So you have to download a launcher to play the game. You have to go to the website to pre-order the game to get access to the closed beta that's been happening for 4 years now, almost to a T. Nobody knows when this will be officially released, and it is pretty pricey. Let me see. I know they have different tiers of like what you can, like what you can do for the
Yeah,
game.
Right.
I will say, when it comes to EFT, there has been some controversy related to, I think, is it Battlestar or is it Battle State?
It's Battle State.
Is it Battle? Yeah, Battle State Games.
So there has been controversy when it comes to Battle State games, and their like refund policy or lack thereof. I'm pretty sure Sid Alpha put them on his dirty devs list.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's a whole kerfluffle over some of their behavior. They are a Russian developer, and they very much do things their own way. Like Green said, they're not on Steam, they're not on Epic, so there's not a third party. You're dealing with them directly when you make your purchase, which is just a word of caution. I do have some stats if we want to get into some system requirements.
If you could run that real quick, I got to run upstairs real quick.
Yeah. So anyone interested in Escape from Tarkov, if you're looking to maybe run it, you need a dual core processor, 2.4 gigahertz. It's either a 2 Duo i3 or a 2.6 gigahertz AMD Athlon Phenom 2. You need 6 gigs of RAM. You need to have Windows 7, 8, 10, or possibly Windows 11. 64-bit. Your video card should be DirectX 11 compatible with 1 gig of memory. Pixel Shader 5.0, Vertex Shader 5.0, sound card. You need one, obviously. I'm going through like a list, and I'm not like I didn't like pre-read
not
it
like
all.
Checking it.
Yeah. It looks like you also need 8 gigs of RAM and 1 gig of RAM for dedicated. I'm sorry, did I say 8 gigs of RAM? I meant 8 gigs of free disk space on your hard drive.
Oh, okay. I was like, I thought you said 6 gigs earlier.
No,
but okay.
no,
Okay.
I'm just being silly. I apologize. And then the recommended requirements.
Oh, so that was minimum.
That was minimum.
Okay, that makes sense because I initially was like, that seems really like oddly low. I would expect it to be much higher than this.
Honestly, I don't even think that might. I'm not even sure that's accurate. Let me see if I can find another one. Otherwise, the recommended, at least this is from systemrequirementslabs.com, is who's saying this.
Right.
The recommended requirements, according to this website, is quad-core processor, 3.2 gigahertz. So an Intel i5 or i7, 3.6 gigahertz AMD FX Athlon. They recommend 8 gigs of RAM. The OS requirements are still the same. Video card with DirectX 11 compatible graphics with 2 gigs or more of memory. Pixel Shader 5.0, Vertex Shader 5.0, and then the recommended requirement is dedicated video RAM of 2 gigs.
That seems, maybe that's just me. That seems like a really weird offloading. Yeah, like for the CPU, that's pretty decent CPU. I feel like an i5 to an i7 is pretty okay for this like state, but 2 gig VRAM seems really low. Maybe that's just me, and I don't necessarily know what that exactly contributes to the system requirements of like a standard user, but that just seems odd to me. That seems specifically like a weird detail.
It's not like super graphically intense, like compared
is it not?
to it's mild, I would say, compared to like games like Warzone or Apex Legends. Like it still it like tries for realistic look, but it's not like
that's not like its
super
main
intense.
goal.
Yeah.
Okay. That makes more sense, because I was like, I know this game really focuses on the realism, and I've thought about picking up in the past, but dead honest, this is like the one game where I've thought about it and I'm like, I'm too anxious for this. No way. I've seen some of these firefights, and like the amount of like listening that you have to do to make sure you don't get shot in the head in like the first 5 seconds. It's like, no, I think I'm good. I think I'm all right.
Yeah, it's very, very sound intensive, and like I feel like every time you get in a fight, like it's difficult to recover from it.
Right.
Because like if you get shot, you're bleeding, and then like you have to figure out how to heal yourself from that or from that bleeding or from that fracture or something. Because if you don't, like if you're have a heavy bleed, you're going to die. Like you have to use a splint or a tourniquet or something.
Right.
And like if your health, because it has like a health screen of like each body part, like from torso to arms and head, like if one of those goes to 0, you lose that arm. If that arm goes to 0, the only way to recover from that is to have like a special item that actually like recovers it back to where you can heal it back up. It's
Right.
like it's a CMS kit, like a survival kit. So like, and once it's gone, it's gone. Like if you lose an arm, your aim is drastically worse. Like if you lose your legs, you're worse, like hobbling to where you need to go. Like you're no longer running, you're no longer walking, you are hobbling. So it's a tough game. It definitely is like the key is to shoot at your person first. It'll hit your shot before they hit their shot.
Yeah,
Because if not, you are fucked up.
So I've got a question for you, Green, because we literally just reviewed Hunt Showdown, which is another very intense game. I mean, there's a lot of similarities, but I really want to talk about the sound design, because Hunt Showdown's like one of its main appeals is its sound design. How does the sound design from Escape from Tarkov compare to Hunt Showdown?
Say they're on like the same par, I would say. The biggest thing with like Tarkov is like you can put on like a headset that amplifies essentially like a hearing aid. But the downside for that is like your footsteps are loud as fuck because you can hear them. So like it is very crucial. The sounds are very well designed in my opinion, especially like bullet travel, like the sound from a bullet, like shots being fired. Like you can tell which direction they're from. You can hear people running and scurrying if they're close, stuff like that. There's not like a huge amount of like audio cues like Hunt Showdown has, where there's like birds that fly off or broken glass on the ground. Like there's stuff on the ground like you can tell the difference between if they're walking on cement versus walking through some bushes, stuff like that. But there's not like cans on the ground that you step on and it jingles, or you walk through like chains and you can hear the chains jingling and shit like that. I would say for sound quality, I would say they're both on the same level, but they're definitely distinctually different.
Yeah, I think to be fair, I haven't played either of them, but I do know that like that's a big focus that Hunt does have, right? Is that ambient sound effect, right? Where you're walking through like an area and maybe crows go off, and so people are like, oh, okay, crows went off in this area. That means there's somebody over there, right? Versus Tarkov, where like sure the sound design's pretty good, but it's standard like it's almost standard FPS sound design, right?
Yeah,
Like yeah, it's
pretty much.
important, but they're not going to be focusing on like little tiny details. It's going to be like, okay, are they walking on metal, right? If they're walking on metal, maybe they're walking on like maybe like a metal pathway in a building, right? Versus like a concrete where they're like, okay, they're on the ground floor. That makes sense. I can go off of that, right? But I do know that Hunt really focuses, like that's its crucial thing, right? Is just focusing on those little ambient sounds of like, okay, crows went off. Okay, I heard a boss die. Maybe I heard like a scream come from like a random enemy somewhere or something like that. And it's like, okay, that makes a lot of sense. I totally get that. But yeah, I think Tarkov, I think you're right. I think you're right in the sense that like it's FPS, but like really overdriving on the reality sense, right? Of like, okay, yeah, you get an arm wound. It's great, cool. You got a fractured arm and a wound as well. So you're gonna have to bandage it. You're gonna have to like, get like some sort of a splint or something and like manage that, right? But yeah, I think that's like the major difference there. I don't know. For me personally, I don't think I could do Tarkov. Tarkov has so many things going on, and that's really cool about it, right? That's actually kind of the thing that was like initially like, man, I kind of want to play Tarkov until I witnessed the gameplay, and I was like, this is too much for me. This is too much.
Yeah,
I have a panic attack over here, hoping I'll get shot.
If you're mainly into like the difficult FPS style games, then Tarkov would be great.
Yeah.
But if you're someone who likes a mass variety, I would honestly recommend Hunt Showdown over Tarkov. Like I like Tarkov. Tarkov's fun. I don't think for the price, if you're just like in more of a casual style gameplay,
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't recommend it.
Yeah.
Whereas Hunt even at $40 like full price right now, is worth it. Whereas like Tarkov, you gotta want to play Tarkov to pay the full.
Yeah, you got to
price for
put in the
Tarkov.
work for Tarkov. If there's one thing that I know from watching any of my other friends playing Tarkov, they put a lot of time into Tarkov because it's either you like it or you don't. Like it's not like it's kind of all right, I guess. It's like I get it and I want more, or it's like I don't want this. I don't want this.
And the biggest thing with like the pay grades for Tarkov is like they really try to get you to get that extra order,
Right.
which is I think is like $150 total. I paid like the initial like I think I've paid $95 total. I bought the base game I think at $35 or $40, something like that,
Uh-huh.
and then I spent an extra $55 on the upgrade for a bigger stash because like I was having like like I don't want to sell this thing because
Right.
I don't know if I need it in the future.
Yeah, it might be
Thing. So I
valuable.
had like a stash full of shit, and it's like you run out of space because it's like Tetris in there. Like if it doesn't fit, you don't keep it. So, the with that, they like each tier has like a bigger stash that you can put items in.
Right.
Up to like the full pre-ordered $95 extra, which comes with like all free DLCs when they have DLCs, which who knows if they're gonna have DLCs because they've been on beta for 4 years.
Yeah, no, that's a great point.
Like yeah, it's just it's crazy. Like for a more enjoyable casual experience, I honestly would recommend Hunt just for that fact. Like you may pay the same for the base price without any sales on Steam,
Mm-hmm.
but it's more enjoyable for casual players.
Right.
Um,
Yeah.
and then on top of that, Steam has Steam sales, so you can
That's
get the
true.
game potentially cheaper.
Yeah,
Whereas
I
I've
think
never
I
seen
saw
Tarkov
Hunt
cheaper.
on sale at one point for like maybe like $25. Maybe I'm wrong on that.
The
I don't
Steam
know.
sale was I think it was half off for $19.99, and I
Yeah,
recommended
okay.
that game to so many people because it's been fun. So
Yeah. Wow. I didn't even take into account the the pricing tiers, right? Because I knew there were pricing tiers, but I didn't think about like the impact of like storage based on pricing tier, which for me personally, that's kind of like a downside more than anything, right? It's like, sure, yeah, I could pay more to get like extra storage, right? But like that's a lot of money investment for a game that like even off the start, you don't know if you're gonna like it, right? Maybe
Yeah.
down the road you're like, maybe I'll get the upgrade, but like even then it's like for $150 total. Personally, to me, I'm just like, I like my wallets.
Yeah, and the biggest thing, like too, is that it will inevitably reset again.
Right, exactly, yeah.
You know, like I think
Yeah.
they say like someone told me that like every Christmas Eve, like they do
Mhm.
like reset twice a year, like in the middle of middle of the year, and then like like Christmas Eve. So
Right,
like everything that you're gonna acquire, you're gonna have to redo again. You
right,
know, which
yeah.
like I get like I know it keeps the game fresh and stuff like
Yeah.
that, but like just imagine like you're grinding all that just for it to be taken away.
Yeah, no, that like I completely agree with that. Don't get me wrong, because I know that I've heard a lot of people really like the reset because you start from scratch and then you're trying to build up from the ground up again, right? And it's almost that new player experience all over again. But also there's the
Essentially, yeah.
other side where it's like, bro, I spent so much time on this game just to get all this stuff lost. I don't want that. And I just spent like what, $150 on this game just to lose everything? Oh hell no.
But you get to
What?
keep your storage and any future DLCs.
Yeah.
One of the big things that I do have to say it does come in handy with paying the extra is
Uh-huh.
like your character when you go into a PMC raid, your character has a pouch that whatever is in that pouch you do not lose.
Right.
So
Yeah.
like if you have like some expensive heals and stuff, you put that in the pouch. Well, it starts off as a 2x2, so
Hmm.
4 total uh spaces that you can put like single square items in, or two square items. So like,
Right.
yeah, when you pay the extra, you get a bigger pouch, up to I believe it's the if you pay the full price for the the Edge Darkness DLC
Uh-huh.
edition, where you get a gold crown next to your name and you're super badass, and you get what they call it a gamma pouch, I believe. Yeah, it's gamma
Hmm.
pouch, and then it's a I believe 3x3, or no, it's 9 total spaces. So, so
Yeah, so it'd be a 3x3
yeah,
if it's 9 total. Yeah.
yeah, something like that. Where mine's
Math.
It's
with
around
the
there.
math is weird. I don't understand the maths. So like I think mine, I with the $5 one, the one just under the super expensive one, I have a two
Hmm.
by three. Yeah, 2x3. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I have 6 total squares.
2 plus
Is
2
there
equals 4.
Was it worth it? Was it worth it? I don't know. Not really, but you know.
is there any way to get like any storage upgrades in game? Like even if it's like completely absurd? Like
Yes.
there is?
So
Okay.
there you can get something called the Lucky Scav Box that the
Uh-huh.
therapist sells.
Okay.
It is 1.1 million rubles.
Uh, How much is 1.1 million rubles?
I don't know. You can get like that's another thing in the game. They have different monetary like
Right.
money is in the game. So like the main one is rubles. Like
Hmm.
most of the like sellers deal in rubles. One of them does have rubles and euros, so you can use
Okay.
euros as well. And
So
then there's one that is clearly American. His name is Peacekeeper. He sells American weapons, and he only deals in US dollars. However, you can swap the rubles for US dollars. I think it's like 125 rubles to each US dollar.
Okay.
So, but yeah, so like when they restart it, I think you start out with like 500,000 rubles. So when you're
Okay.
raiding, when you go into raids, you can find money, or like you take the items and then you can sell them to get more rubles for US dollars or euros.
Right.
So it was kind of a grind to get that
Yeah.
100
Yeah.
1.1 million. Like I definitely needed it because like the Scav Box only puts in uh stuff that is like not considered, it's essentially considered junk,
Right.
quote unquote junk. So like
Yeah.
you can't put food in there, you can't put like ammo, But it's like the stuff that like you end up needing for like your hideout or for like quests and stuff like that. Which like when you're going in and you're like a loot goblin like I am, and you're grabbing literally everything, it comes in handy because like
Right.
you never know how many AA batteries you need. Or
I have a bunch of remotes,
matches.
dude. I'm gonna need to turn on my TV at some point.
Who knows if I'm gonna need this light bulb that's energy efficient.
Shiny things
You
go
know?
click clack in my hand.
Yeah, exactly. So like it saved a lot of space in my stash, and then I just ended up filling it with more ammo. You can also buy an ammo case that holds
Okay.
ammo, and it only holds ammo. So, and I think there's something. There's like someone said there was another case or something. I just don't remember what.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
which like, you know, it takes up some squares in your stash, but when you open it, it has more squares.
Right.
So
Yeah.
another thing is like you can put backpacks within backpacks. So I have literally a backpack that has a backpack in it, which has another backpack in it, which has another backpack in it, which
I was
has
about
another
to just ask how
backpack
far
in
this
it.
goes. Yeah.
It's a total of 6 backpacks, and then there's junk in the last backpack. So somehow, magically, if you put backpacks within backpacks, it does not degrade the amount of stuff you can shove in the first backpack. Like a rabbit hole of backpacks.
It's a bag of holding.
Goodness.
It is really like I can indefinitely make backpacks. Like until it's like, I'm sure there has to be a limit. I have not reached that limit yet.
The storage system it reminds me a lot of like WoW and also like Resident Evil in the case where like it's tile based, right? So like in Resident Evil, right, you'll have like a shotgun, maybe that's like a 2x5 tile set, and that takes up like a good amount of your storage, right? But also in WoW, obviously you can buy like pouches, and then that adds like extra space and stuff like that. That's just kind of what I'm thinking about right now.
I think the biggest thing I do want to mention as well is the hideout. So like you can do like upgrades to your hideout, and that's why you need a lot of that junk. But they did introduce something called a Bitcoin farmer or
Okay.
Bitcoin farm. So like it does take in like real world Bitcoin value. So once you get that actually set up, I think it's like 20% of what the real life like at that moment Bitcoin is, and it'll farm that amount for you in rubles. So
Okay.
I haven't unlocked it yet, so I haven't tried it. But like you do these upgrades, like you do like security, like a med station, a rest space, and that all like goes towards like either your character, like how long it takes to recuperate between each raid. Because when you go into a raid, you have to, you know, keep in mind that your water level and your like your hunger level, and you actually have to eat and drink in between raids if you don't die. Which
Wow.
if you die, then you just pay the rubles to get back to full health. Then you
Right.
don't have to worry about it. But if you survive, you're equally fucked because you still have to drink and eat if you want to go
Great,
back
no matter
in.
what, you lose.
Yeah, and like let's say you get shot, right, and you die, and like let's say you're like, oh, I'll get off for the night, and then tomorrow you'll be fresh up. Your energy and health and water levels will still be up. But like let's say you got shot and you had a fracture. You have to fix that fracture before you go into a PMC, or that fracture is still going to be there. So, yeah, like if you don't fix the stuff before you go into the next raid, you are going to be hurting still, and it is awful.
To be honest, that sounds really frustrating.
Yeah, I didn't realize I had a broken leg once, like a fractured leg, and I went in like I'm like
for the past 3 games, I just felt like I can't move. I don't know what's going on.
Yeah. So that's exactly like I cut off for the day after I got injured. I'm like, I'm not going to pay anything because I'm getting off anyways. I'll let him recuperate on his own time. I go into the next raid the next day, and I'm like, it kept warning me that I was heavily wounded, but all my health stuff was up, and I didn't realize that it said my leg was fucking fractured. So I'm sitting there hobbling, like, okay, does anyone have something to fix my leg? Because I'm fucked up right now. I can't move. It's bad. It's a great game. It's fun to play.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong, but you got to really want to play it.
Yeah.
So, it in my opinion, it does beat Warzone. Like,
Yeah.
I haven't ran into like an abundance of hackers or game breaking glitches and stuff like that. You know, because the game's been in beta for 4 years.
So with that, I feel like we need to take a break.
Yeah.
We'll come back. We got lots of news and deals of the month still coming up, guys. We'll be right back.